align his leg controllers. Okay, I'm aware of where my feet need to be. So I am going to turn on automatic keyframing. This means that everything I do here is going to be recorded. So I'm just going to experiment here with some of my character stuff, okay? And I'm going to want to make sure that his foot is there, and then the right foot controller is going to be closer and is going to need to lift up with the ball roll. There we go. Now his hip controller, okay, is too close, so I'm going to need to move that down. But I think I'm going to need to ensure that I move the head chest controller as well, so that everything moves down. There we go, that's not too bad. I do want my right foot controller to be a little bit rotated, okay, and then I can move it so that he's in that position. There we go. That's not too bad. That gives me the majority of what I want. And I'm going to work on it a little section at a time. So to start with, I'm going to do the feet. I want to make sure that the feet work. And then what I will do, I will focus on things like the head and the arms and the bodies to give it a little bit more sway. You don't have to do everything at once. And doing this one little bit at a time means that you're happy with it before moving on. So then I'm going to go to frame 5. Okay. And that's where that left foot, okay, comes crashing down. Oh no, I did it with the controller, didn't I? So I should put that back down to 60. There we go. One of the things to do a successful walk cycle is that he will walk on the spot like he's on a treadmill. Okay. It's one of the easiest ways of getting this to work, and it's a way of checking that your walk cycle is going to be successful. If something is just walking, you can do this and then you'll use the main controller to move him from one end of the screen to another. So we've got the foot down, and the right foot I think is going to come up even further, and it's going to move up there. There we go, and I'm just going to grab the hip and the chest controllers move him down a little bit more so we've got that feeling. There we go. That's now in that nice little position. If I just scrub between the two. Ba-doof, ba-doof. Yep. So frame 10, the left leg comes back and the right leg is going to come back off the heel. So heel tip. Oh, no. Rotate it, and then bring it up, and then I'm going to bring back down. Oh, I've forgotten which one it is I'm doing. There we go, sorry, my fault. Bring that back down to 0 so that he's got a nice flat foot, and then I'm going to need to move the hip and the chest controllers up so that he's in that sort of front position. Fine. 5 more frames, and the left leg goes back further, okay, and the right foot comes in more forward and starts to rotate. Otherwise you'll find that it starts to do some weird things. His legs are quite short and dumpy, so you're going to be a bit careful where things go. If I just scrub through, there we go, we've got some good movement. And then at 20 we return to the contact sort of area. So make sure that my foot is there and is down. Okay, and what I want to do is I'm just going to look between the two and I'm going to check that I've got my foot where he needs to be. I'm going to need to adjust some of my settings to put them back. As you can see, it's really good to make sure that you remember what it is that you're changing, otherwise you are going to forget the way I have done now. There we go. And he's back in contact position. Now, a good way of checking is to go to the sort of world axis and then check where it is in this position along the Z axis, which currently is 9901. And what you want to do to make sure that it's a symmetrical walk cycle, select the left leg controller and go to the beginning, and you want to find where it is. So it's minus 2986. So if I just copy that, and then I go to the leg controller, and I go here, and I do that, and press enter, you can see that that snaps that back. Good thing to do as well, let's check the rotation of that leg controller. So that's 15 degrees. Make sure you've got the correct one. So that's that one. That controller is at 000 degrees, and the heel tip is at 16,055. So let's go to that controller there, and we want to make sure that that is at 000, and that was at 15, or was it 16,055? So just go back to the beginning, 16,055. So we want that to be here at 16,055. So now the two legs are in exactly the right positions to match each other. And we're going to need to do that for the back leg as well to ensure that that gives us the right position. So if I just go to 0, okay, you can see that we're at 1656454. Okay, so if you want a pen, you can note this down, or you can just do what I'm going to do, which is to copy and paste. So I'm going to select Y1 first. Okay, then I'm going to do that. Go back. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Oh, wrong leg. Always make sure you select the right leg. It would be very, very bad if you didn't. And make sure you do it on the right keyframe as well. That would also help. There we go. So now at the beginning, its rotation for the left leg, for the right leg is 15,712. So left leg, frame 20, 15,712. And we'll just check the settings for that leg, for the right leg, minus 60, 55, 0. So left leg, minus 60, 55, 0. So if I go between those two frames now, we've got some good movement between the two. Okay. Now we need to make sure that that hip movement comes back down to where it is at 0. So let's just select that hip controller, and we find its Y position is at 153 and the chest is at 274. So once again, we're going to need to make sure that at frame 20 it's the same. But because the hip doesn't move forwards or backwards, we can cheat, and we can drag and drop a copy of that keyframe, and we can do the same for the chest controller as well to ensure that the movement between those two is exactly as we want. Okay, so there we go, that's not too bad. We're going to have to be a bit careful with the way that that foot goes underneath. So I'm just going to lower my animation just to 25, just so I've got access to those keyframes. So that left foot, you can see, plonks down quite nicely, slides, but it does go underneath. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to, at frame 15, just adjust that ever so slightly. So that is the left leg, okay, and maybe we can adjust its foot position here, or we might need to just move it up a little bit. You know, you can see whether or not you can do some things like that. Okay, so like its heel tip. There we go. But you're going to need to make sure that its heel tip comes back down to 0. There we go, just little adjustments like that means that that foot no longer goes underneath. Okay, there we go, and that's one particular step. So now we're going to need to do it the other way around. So if that's 20, let's go to 40. And now we need to work the other way. So at frame 25, our right foot will now come back down. So we're going to need to work on that back there, and again you're going to need to cross-reference between where things were between one leg and the other. So that on the Z axis is 2473. There we go. So that one, that one, that one. There we go, and just want to check its Y position as well between that one. Oh, left leg. 35293. Right leg. And there we go. So that we're now happy that those two are in a similar position. But we're going to need to make sure that the left leg was at there and there because it was moving between the two. Again, we'll do a little bit of adjustment after just to see what's going on. Okay, and where does the right leg, the left leg go? So let's have a look. So the right leg at frame 5. Okay. So the Z axis is 162. The Y axis is 87.61. And the rotation 50.611. And then minus 60, minus 30, 55. Minus 60, minus 30, 55. So now if I cross between the two, they're in pretty similar positions, which is marvellous. Okay. The hips changed, so let's get the hip and chest controllers. We can select that because that will select both of them because I've got both of them selected there. And then command drag, control drag that to 25. So now if I nip between the two frames, the only difference should be is that the legs have swapped. Perfect. Excellent. Now to 30. So I'm going to get the two hips controllers there while I'm already there, and I'm going to do those so that the difference between that and that is there. You can see that it can take a little bit of time to maneuver your way through this sort of stuff, but to ensure that there is a definite match between those legs is really good. You could guess it if you want a non-symmetrical walk cycle, but it's a really good thing to sort of get into the habit of, is ensuring that you know what's going where. So at 10, that foot is at 78. So if I just go to 30, that foot needs to be at 78. Marvellous. What else have we got? There is a slight angle at 302. I don't think we keyframed it actually, did we? So that's gone up and backwards. No, because we keyframe it a little bit later on, so I might actually undo that. There we go, and we'll focus on that back leg. Yeah, because that's halfway through its movement. So at frame 10, this foot is 121 high. So make sure we go to the left leg, frame 30. 121 high, right leg, frame 10, 117, and then finally its rotation 7. Minus 50. None of those are actually keyframed, are they?